The stars looked beautiful from the observation deck of the Galactic Concordat Council Station. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood there watching ships from 47 different species move through space, like a dance he did not understand yet. 3 months ago, humanity had finally created faster-than-light travel. 3 months ago, Earth sent its first message to the galaxy. Now Marcus was here, representing all of humanity in front of the most powerful alliance in known space. The meeting room was massive. Representatives from dozens of alien species sat in chairs designed for bodies that looked nothing like humans. Some had 6 legs. Others floated in tanks of liquid. A few were just clouds of gas held together by force fields. Marcus felt very small and very alone. The council leader was a Thranian named High Speaker Veloth. He looked like a tall insect covered in blue armor. His voice came through a translator device that made him sound friendly, but Marcus could see the concern in his large black eyes. "Welcome, Ambassador Webb," Veloth said. "We have reviewed your military specifications as required by Concordat law. We have some concerns about your newest warship design." Marcus pulled up the holographic display. The USS Valor appeared in the air between them, rotating slowly. She was beautiful. 2 kilometers of human engineering. "The pride of Earth's solar defense fleet, what concerns?" Marcus asked. A small alien that looked like a floating jellyfish spoke up. "Your armor plating is 5 times thicker than Concordat maximum standards. Your reactor produces 8 times more power than any ship its size should need. Your weapons are excessive." Marcus frowned. "I don't understand." "It's a warship? It's built to fight." No, another alien said. This one looked like a walking tree. "Ships are built to participate in war according to established protocols. Your ship is built to win at any cost. There is a difference. For 3,000 years, the galaxy had agreed on rules for war. Ships could only be certain sizes. Weapons could only be certain strengths. Armor could only be certain thicknesses. Everyone followed these rules. War was still terrible, but it was controlled, predictable, survivable. Humanity had not known about these rules. Earth had spent 10,000 years fighting itself. Every war taught humans to build better weapons, stronger armor, faster ships. When humans built the Valor, they built her to survive everything they could imagine. They built her to protect Earth from any threat. "We need you to redesign this ship," Veloth said carefully. "Follow our standards. Make it weaker. Make it fair." Marcus looked at the faces around the room. They were serious. They actually wanted humanity to make its only deep space warship worse. "No," Marcus said quietly. The room fell silent. "Ambassador Webb," Veloth said slowly, "this is not a request. This is Concordat law. All member species must follow the military conventions. If you refuse, there will be consequences." "Then we refuse," Marcus said. His hands were shaking, but his voice stayed steady. "Earth will not make its defenses weaker just to follow rules we never agreed to. The Valor stays exactly as she is." The council erupted. Aliens shouted in a dozen different languages. The translators struggled to keep up. Finally, Veloth raised a clawed hand for silence. "Then humanity will face sanctions, trade restrictions, travel bans, and if the Valor enters any Concordat space, it will be considered a threat." Marcus nodded. "I understand. We'll be leaving now." As Marcus walked out, he heard whispers behind him. The aliens were scared. They were scared of one human ship. Back on Earth, the news spread quickly. Humanity had been rejected by the galaxy. Some people were angry. Others were afraid. But the solar defense fleet kept working. The Valor was almost ready for her first real mission, a shakedown cruise through the outer solar system. Captain Elizabeth Chen was chosen to command her. Chen was 42 years old, a veteran of the Belt Wars where human corporations had fought over asteroid mining rights. She was smart, calm, and did not scare easily. "The aliens think we built a monster," her second officer said as they prepared for departure. Chen smiled. "We built a warship, a real one." What nobody knew was that a radical group called the Zelthian Supremacy had already made a decision. They believed humanity was too dangerous to leave alone. They believed the Valor needed to be destroyed before she became operational. They believed humans needed to be taught a lesson about galactic power. 12 Zelthian cruisers left their home system in secret. Their target was Jupiter. Their mission was simple: find the Valor during her shakedown cruise and destroy her. Show humanity that the galaxy's rules existed for a reason. The Zelthian commander, Admiral Kraith, was confident. 12 cruisers against 1. The humans would not even have time to surrender. It would be quick, clean, a message that even primitive species could understand. He was wrong. The UESS Valor moved through space near Jupiter like a silver knife. Captain Chen sat in the command chair, watching the massive planet fill the viewing screens. They had been running tests for 6 hours. Every system was working perfectly. "Captain, we have contacts," the sensor officer called out. 12 ships just dropped out of FTL, distance 2 million kilometers. They're heading straight for us. Chen leaned forward. Identification? Zelthian supremacy warships, cruiser class. They're broadcasting on all channels. The main screen flickered. Admiral Kraith appeared. He looked like a giant lizard wearing armor made of black metal. His yellow eyes stared at Chen with contempt. "Human vessel Valor, you are in violation of concordant military law. Power down your weapons and prepare to be destroyed. This is your only warning." Chen blinked. Did he just tell us to prepare to be destroyed after giving us a warning? Her tactical officer nodded. "I think it's a translation problem, ma'am." "Well, that's confusing," Chen said. Then she pressed the ship-wide intercom. "All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Alarms blared throughout the Valor. 2,000 crew members rushed to their positions. In engineering, the reactor output increased to combat levels. In the weapons bays, magnetic acceleration cannons powered up. Missile tubes loaded their deadly cargo. "Captain, they're firing warning shots," the tactical officer reported. "Plasma bolts. They'll pass about 50 kilometers ahead of us." Chen watched the blue streaks of energy flash past on the screen. "Are they actually expecting us to stop?" "I think so, ma'am. According to concordant protocols, we're supposed to power down shields and accept their judgment." "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard," Chen said. "Shields to maximum, load all weapons, prepare point defense grid." Admiral Kraith could not believe what he was seeing. The human ship was not following protocol. It was not powering down. It was doing the opposite. It was preparing to fight. "They don't understand," his first officer said. "They're primitives. They don't know how war works." "Then we'll teach them," Kraith said. "All ships, attack formation. Target their engines and weapons. Try not to kill too many. We want survivors to carry the message back to Earth." The 12 Zelthian cruisers spread out in a perfect tactical formation. They had done this hundreds of times in dozens of wars. 3 ships would draw the enemy's fire while the others attacked from the sides. It always worked. They fired their main plasma cannons. Bright blue energy lanced across space toward the Valor. According to all their calculations, the human shields would fail after 3 hits. Then the ship would be defenseless. The plasma hit the Valor's shields. Energy flared. The shields flickered. Then they held. The second volley hit. The shields held again. The third volley. Still holding. "Their shields are still at 97%, the Zelthian sensor officer reported. That's not possible." "Fire missiles," Kraith ordered. "Overwhelm their defenses." 200 missiles launched from the Zelthian fleet. They screamed through space at incredible speed. No ship could stop that many missiles. No point defense system was that good. Except humanity had spent 300 years building point defense systems to shoot down Earth's own hypersonic missiles. The Valor's point defense grid came alive. Thousands of small railguns tracked the incoming missiles. They fired in perfect synchronization. The missiles died, all of them. They exploded in brilliant flashes thousands of kilometers away from the Valor. Not one got through. On the Valor's bridge, Chen smiled. "Well, their missiles are slower than ours. That makes things easier. Tactical, return fire. Magnetic acceleration cannons target the lead cruiser." "Yes, ma'am, firing." The Valor's main guns were not energy weapons. They were railguns scaled up to ship size. They fired tungsten carbide slugs the size of cars at a fraction of the speed of light. Each slug carried more kinetic energy than a nuclear bomb. The first slug hit Admiral Kraith's flagship. It went through the shields like they were not there. It punched through the armor. It tore through 3 decks. The flagship's reactor destabilized. The ship exploded in a ball of white fire. Admiral Kraith died instantly, along with his entire crew of 400. He never understood what killed him. The weapon was too fast, too powerful. too different from everything he knew. Enemy flagship, destroyed, the Valor's tactical officer reported calmly. Good, Chen said. Now let's finish this quickly. Launch missile pods, full spread. Target all remaining vessels. The Valor carried missiles designed to destroy hardened military bunkers on Earth. Each warhead was a fusion bomb. The yield was considered excessive by Concordate standards. By human standards, they were standard anti-ship weapons. 300 missiles launched. They spread out in a pattern that gave the Zelthian ships no room to escape. The aliens tried to shoot them down, but their point defense was too slow. 47 minutes after the battle started, 3 more Zelthian cruisers were destroyed. Then 2 more. Then 4 more. The last 2 Zelthian ships tried to run. They turned and fired their FTL drives. But before they could jump, railgun slugs caught them. Both ships broke apart, spilling air and bodies into space. Chen looked at the tactical display. 12 red icons marked where the Zelthian fleet had been. Now there was nothing but debris. Damage report, she said quietly. Minor hull scoring on sections 7 and 12. We lost 3% of the point defense grid. 1 crew member injured, not serious. Shields back to full power. Chen nodded slowly. She felt sick. She had just killed thousands of people. But they had attacked first. They had come to destroy her ship, to kill her crew. Send a message to Earth, she said. Tell them what happened. And send a formal complaint to the Galactic Concordat about this unprovoked attack. Across the galaxy, automated sensors had watched the battle. The recordings were already spreading through Concordat space. Every species saw the same thing. 1 human ship had destroyed 12 of their cruisers in less than an hour. The humans had not just won, they had made it look easy. The galaxy was afraid. The emergency session of the Galactic Concordat Council was the largest gathering in 300 years. Every member species sent their representatives. The massive council chamber was completely full. Everyone wanted to see the recordings from Jupiter. High Speaker Veloth stood at the center of the chamber. He looked tired. The blue color of his armor seemed darker than before. He raised his clawed hand for silence. We will now review the battle data, he announced. The holographic display filled the entire chamber. Everyone watched as the Zelthian fleet approached the human ship. They watched as the Valor refused to power down. They watched as plasma cannons and missiles failed to damage it. They watched as the human ship fought back. What scared them most was not the power of human weapons. It was the efficiency. The Valor never wasted a shot. Its tactics were perfect. There was no honor in how it fought, no tradition. Just cold, calculated destruction designed to win as quickly as possible. When the recording ended, the chamber was silent. A military expert from the Threnian Republic spoke first. General Korvax was old and covered in scars from 19 different wars. He had never lost a battle. I have analyzed the human tactics, he said slowly. They fight like no species we have ever encountered. They do not try to disable their enemies. They do not try to minimize casualties. They try to win. Only to win. Every choice they make is about victory. They fight like animals, a Zelthian representative shouted. His voice was full of anger and grief. They murdered Admiral Kraith and thousands of our people. This cannot stand. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood up. Every alien eye turned to him. He felt their fear and anger pressing down on him like physical weight. Your ships attacked us, Marcus said firmly. The Valor was conducting a routine test flight. Your Admiral Kraith told us to prepare to be destroyed. What did you expect us to do? Just die quietly? You were supposed to follow protocol, Veloth said. Power down. Accept judgment. That is how civilized species behave. Marcus shook his head. That is how you get killed. Humanity learned a long time ago that the only way to survive is to be too dangerous to attack. We built the Valor to protect Earth. She did exactly what she was designed to do. And that is the problem, a small crystalline alien said. Her voice was like breaking glass. You designed a ship to kill. We designed our ships to fight wars that can be survived. Your philosophy is too dangerous for the galaxy. A merchant representative from the Velian Consortium raised a tentacle. Perhaps we are looking at this wrong. The humans clearly have superior military technology. We should be trading with them, not threatening them. Absolutely not, a military commander hissed. If human weapons spread through the galaxy, every war will become total war. Millions will die, planets will burn. We cannot allow this. The debate raged for hours. The pacifists wanted dialogue with humanity. The military factions wanted a preemptive strike before Earth could build more ships like the Valor. The merchants saw opportunities for profit. Nobody could agree. Finally, Veloth called for a vote. Resolution 4478 was presented to the Council. It would officially ban human-style warships. It would demand that Earth decommission the Valor and submit new designs that followed Concordate standards. If humanity refused, they would face complete isolation from galactic civilization. The vote passed by a wide margin. Only the Threnian Republic and a few small species voted against it. Veloth turned to Marcus. Ambassador Webb, the Concordate has spoken. Humanity has 90 standard days to comply. After that, any human military vessel entering Concordate space will be considered an act of war. Marcus stood. I need to speak with my government, but I can tell you right now what they will say. Earth will never agree to make itself defenseless. Then there will be war, the Zelthian representative said coldly. Marcus walked out of the chamber with his head held high, but inside he was terrified. Earth had one warship. The Concordate had thousands. How could humanity possibly survive? Back on Earth, the news caused panic. People protested in the streets. Some demanded that the government comply with the Concordate. Others wanted Earth to fight. The Solar Defense Fleet went to maximum alert. President Sarah Martinez addressed the world from the United Earth Government building. Citizens of Earth, she said. The Galactic Concordate has demanded that we destroy our only deep space warship. They want us to follow their rules. Rules designed to keep war predictable and controlled. But humanity did not survive 10,000 years of history by playing by other people's rules. We survived by being strong, by being smart, by refusing to be victims. She paused, looking directly into the camera. We will not destroy the Valor. We will not make our defenses weaker. Instead, we will build more ships. Stronger ships. We will show the galaxy that Earth is not afraid. We reject the Concordate's ultimatum completely. The crowd outside erupted in cheers and screams. Half the world celebrated. The other half prepared for war. In secret meeting rooms across Concordate space, military commanders made their own plans. They knew the politicians would talk and debate for months. But the commanders understood military reality. Humanity had to be stopped now before they could build more dreadnoughts. A coalition formed in the shadows. 7 species. 300 ships. They called themselves the Defense Initiative, but everyone else would call them the Rogue Fleet. Their plan was simple and brutal. They would bypass all the diplomatic channels. They would strike at Earth's colonies while the Valor was in the wrong part of space. They would teach humanity that numbers always beat technology. The target they chose was New Terra, humanity's first colony beyond the solar system. 200,000 civilians. Almost no military defenses. The perfect target to break human will. General Korvax heard about the plan through his intelligence network. He was horrified. This was not war. This was murder. He sent an encrypted message to Earth, warning them about the coming attack. The message arrived at Earth Defense Command at 0300 hours. Admiral Sarah Chen, Elizabeth Chen's older sister and the commander of the entire Solar Defense Fleet, read it twice. Then she started making calls. Earth had 3 dreadnoughts complete, Valor, Defiance, and Indomitable. It would have to be enough. She ordered all 3 ships to New Terra at maximum speed. The race had begun. The colony of New Terra looked beautiful from orbit. Green continents, blue oceans, white clouds. It looked almost exactly like Earth. That was why humans had chosen this planet. It felt like home. Governor Maria Santos stood in the colony's command center staring at the sensor display with growing horror. 89 warships had just appeared at the edge of the system, the largest fleet ever assembled in Concordate history, and they were heading straight for New Terra. We don't have enough ships to fight them, her military advisor said. His voice was shaking. We have 3 patrol boats, glorified shuttles with missiles. Against 89 warships, Maria closed her eyes. 200,000 people lived on New Terra. Farmers, scientists, children, families who had traveled 4 years through space to build a new world. Now they were going to die. When will the fleet arrive from Earth? She asked quietly. They're still 6 hours away. The alien fleet will reach us in 3. Maria nodded. Then we evacuate as many people as we can. Get them into the underground shelters. Maybe some will survive. Admiral Korvax commanded the rogue fleet from his flagship, the Eternal Justice. He was uncomfortable with this mission. Attacking defenseless civilians went against everything he believed in, but he had been ordered to participate. His government wanted to show solidarity with the other species. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the colony, his communications officer said. Governor Santos appeared on the screen. She looked tired and scared, but her voice was steady. This is Governor Maria Santos of New Terra Colony. We are a civilian settlement with no military forces. We have 200,000 people here, including 50,000 children. Whatever your dispute with Earth's government, these people had no part in it. Please don't do this, Korvax felt sick. He wanted to turn his ship around. But if he did, his own government would call him a traitor. The other commanders were watching him. Governor Santos, he said slowly, I am truly sorry. We will not harm your civilians, but we must blockade your planet until Earth agrees to follow concordant law. No ships in or out. We will allow supply deliveries, but nothing else. You have my word. Another admiral cut in. Commander Xyloth was a Zelthian. His species wanted revenge for the deaths at Jupiter. No negotiations. We will demonstrate what happens to species that defy the concordate. Prepare orbital bombardment. Stand down, Xyloth, Korvax said sharply. We agreed on a blockade, not genocide. You agreed to a blockade, Xyloth hissed. I agreed to teach these primitives a lesson. 30 ships follow me. We're going in. 30 ships broke from the main fleet. They accelerated toward New Terra. Korvax tried to order them back, but they ignored him. The fleet was fracturing. The plan was falling apart. Then new contacts appeared on every sensor in the system. 3 ships dropped out of FTL between the rogue fleet and New Terra. They were massive. 2 kilometers of human engineering and fury. The Valor, Defiance, and Indomitable had arrived. Captain Elizabeth Chen stood on the bridge of the Valor. She looked at the tactical display showing 89 enemy ships. The odds were impossible. 29-1. Any reasonable commander would retreat, but Elizabeth Chen did not command a reasonable ship. She commanded a warship built by a species that never learned how to lose gracefully. All ships, execute hellspread maneuver, she ordered calmly. Simultaneously, all 3 dreadnoughts launched every missile they carried, over 2,000 fusion-tipped warheads. They spread out in an expanding sphere of nuclear fire that filled space between the human ships and the rogue fleet. The alien fleet panicked. They had never seen anything like this. Missiles came from every direction at once. Their point defense systems were overwhelmed, ships scattered trying to avoid the deadly cloud. Split formation, Chen ordered. Maximum acceleration. Go through them. The 3 dreadnoughts separated and accelerated to speeds that made the alien commanders gasp in shock. Human ships could go faster than anything in concordate space. Human inertial dampeners could handle accelerations that would turn alien crews into paste against their walls. The Valor charged through the scattered alien formation like a shark through a school of fish. Her railguns fired continuously. Every shot killed a ship. Her point defense kept her safe from counterattacks. Behind her, ships exploded in brilliant flashes. The Defiance took the left flank. Captain Rodriguez was aggressive and fearless. His ship dove into the thickest part of the enemy formation. The aliens tried to surround him. That was a mistake. The Defiance's weapons fired in all directions. She was designed to fight while outnumbered. The Indomitable took the right flank. Captain Liu was cautious and precise. She picked her targets carefully. Every shot counted. Every missile hit exactly where it needed to. She fought like a surgeon with a scalpel. The battle became chaos. The alien fleet could not coordinate. They were too spread out, too confused, too scared. They had come expecting an easy victory against a defenseless colony. Instead, they found themselves in a fight for survival against 3 ships that refused to die. Commander Xyloth's attack group never reached New Terra. The Valor intercepted them. Chen showed no mercy. These ships had come to bomb civilians. She destroyed all 30 in 20 minutes. Xyloth's ship exploded last. He died screaming orders that nobody could follow. 6 hours into the battle, the Defiance took a critical hit. A lucky shot from a dying alien cruiser penetrated her shields and struck the main reactor. Captain Rodriguez ordered evacuation, but there was no time. The reactor went critical. This is Rodriguez to all ships, he said calmly over the radio. Defiance is lost. We're going to take as many of them with us as we can. Tell Earth we did our duty." The Defiance turned toward the densest cluster of enemy ships. She accelerated to ramming speed. The aliens tried to run, but Rodriguez had calculated their escape vectors perfectly. The Defiance exploded in the middle of the alien formation. The blast destroyed 6 more ships and damaged a dozen others. Chen felt tears on her face. Rodriguez had been her friend for 20 years. But there was no time to mourn. The battle was not over. The Indomitable suffered a reactor breach 2 hours later. Captain Liu was more fortunate. She had time to evacuate most of her crew. The ship drifted powerless but intact. The crew watched from escape pods as their ship slowly tumbled away. Now it was just the Valor against 42 enemy ships. Chen looked at her crew. They were exhausted, bleeding, scared, but not beaten. "Never beaten. Load our last missiles," she said quietly. "We're finishing this." The Valor charged forward one more time, her guns blazing, her crew fighting. By the time the sun set on New Terra that day, the battle was over. 67 alien ships destroyed. 22 had fled. The Valor remained, damaged, scarred, but undefeated. Admiral Korvax watched from his flagship as the human ship limped toward the colony. He had not fired a single shot. He had watched his carefully planned operation turn into a bloodbath. He had watched humans fight with a ferocity that terrified him. He opened a channel to the Valor. "Captain Chen, this is Admiral Korvax. I am withdrawing my forces. You have won." Chen appeared on his screen. She looked like she had aged 10 years in one day. "Get out of our system, Admiral. If I ever see you near a human colony again, I will kill you." Korvax believed her. He ordered his ships to retreat. As the last alien ship jumped to FTL, Maria Santos stood on the surface of New Terra and watched the Valor descend through the atmosphere. The massive ship landed near the capital city like a protective mountain. Her hull was scorched. Her armor was cracked. But she had saved them. The 200,000 colonists came out of their shelters. They looked up at the damaged warship and wept with relief and gratitude. Humanity had won again. But the cost was terrible. The Defiance was gone. The Indomitable was destroyed. And the galaxy was more afraid than ever. The defeat at New Terra sent shockwaves across the galaxy. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Galactic Concordat looked weak. Species that had always followed the rules started asking dangerous questions. If humans could fight like that, why should everyone else handicap their own militaries? The Concordat Council fell apart. Different factions formed, each with their own ideas about how to handle humanity. The Zelthian supremacy demanded total war. They wanted to glass Earth, to destroy every human colony, to eliminate the threat completely. They were terrified and angry. Fear made them dangerous. The Velian Merchants Guild wanted to trade with Earth. They saw profit in human technology. They secretly sent messages to Ambassador Webb, offering deals that would make both sides rich. The Threnian Republic began formal negotiations with humanity. General Korvax had written a detailed report about the battle at New Terra. He described human tactics, human weapons, human determination. He ended his report with a simple conclusion. Humanity cannot be defeated by conventional warfare. They must become allies instead of enemies. But while politicians talked and merchants made deals, military commanders across the galaxy made their own plans. 7 species formed a secret coalition. They called themselves the Emergency Defense Committee. Everyone else would call them traitors. They gathered 320 warships. It was the largest fleet in galactic history. Their plan was brutal and simple. They would strike Earth directly, bypass the colonies, destroy humanity's home world before more dreadnoughts could be built. On Earth, the solar defense fleet was exhausted. The Valor had returned from New Terra barely operational. The Defiance was gone. The Indomitable was destroyed. Earth had only 5 working dreadnoughts left. 2 were still in construction, barely combat ready. Admiral Sarah Chen looked at the intelligence reports with growing despair. 300 ships coming to Earth. Her fleet could not stop that many. Even if every human warship fought perfectly, they would be overwhelmed by numbers. Ambassador Marcus Webb sat in her office. They had known each other for years, friends who now faced impossible choices together. "We can evacuate some people," Marcus said quietly. "Get them to the colonies. Maybe 1 billion can escape before the fleet arrives, and leave 8 billion to die." Sarah shook her head. "No, there has to be another way. What way? We can't build more ships in time. We can't negotiate with people who want us dead. We can't run. What's left? Sarah was quiet for a long time. Then she pulled up a classified file. Project Peacemaker. It was proposed 6 months ago and rejected as too insane, too dangerous, too expensive. Marcus read the file. His face went pale. You want to build a ship that can kill stars? Sarah, this is crazy. Even for us. It's the only weapon the galaxy has never seen, the only thing that might make them stop. We build the Peacemaker. We demonstrate it. We show them that attacking Earth would be suicide. It will take months to build. We don't have months, we have 6 weeks. That's when the rogue fleet will arrive. We work around the clock. We strip parts from other ships. We use every resource Earth has, and we pray we finish in time. The order went out across Earth. Every orbital shipyard started working on the Peacemaker. 50,000 engineers, 1 million workers. The entire human race watched the construction on live video feeds. The ship was enormous. 5 kilometers long, more space station than Warship. At its core was the most insane weapon humanity had ever designed. A directed stellar mass ejection cannon. It would use massive magnetic fields to pull material from the sun itself, then fire it at near light speed. The physics were terrifying. The energy requirements were impossible. But humanity had learned long ago that impossible just meant nobody had tried hard enough yet. 12 fusion reactors powered the weapon. Each reactor could power a small city. Together, they produced more energy than most stars. The magnetic coils were the largest ever built. They could contain and direct plasma at temperatures hotter than the core of the sun. With 48 hours until the rogue fleet arrived, the Peacemaker was still not finished. Workers installed the last reactor while the ship was already powering up. Engineers tested systems that had never been tested before. Everyone knew that if anything went wrong, the weapon could destroy Earth instead of saving it. Captain Chen transferred from the Valor to command the Peacemaker. She walked through the massive ship, looking at the weapon that might save humanity or doom it. The engineers looked exhausted. Many had not slept in days. Will it work? She asked the chief engineer. Honestly? I have no idea. The math says yes. The simulations say yes. But we've never actually tested it. We don't know if it will fire correctly. We don't know if it will destroy the ship. We don't know if we can even aim it accurately. Chen nodded. So it's a normal Tuesday for humanity. Good. Let's see if this thing can actually save us. With 24 hours left, the rogue fleet detected the Peacemaker on their sensors. They saw its size and laughed. The humans had built a space station and called it a warship. It would be easy to destroy. The fleet commander was a Krillian named Warmaster Thex. He had fought in 30 wars and won them all. He looked at the tactical display showing Earth's defenses. 7 human dreadnoughts, 43 smaller cruisers, and 1 ridiculous oversized target. This will be easier than we thought, he told his officers. The humans wasted their resources building that monstrosity. It probably can't even move properly. We'll destroy it first, then deal with their real warships. The rogue fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of the solar system. 320 ships, the largest invasion force in galactic history. They broadcast their ultimatum across all channels. Humans of Earth, you have defied the Concordat for the last time. Surrender immediately or we will destroy your world. You have 1 hour. Earth's response came from Admiral Sarah Chen. Unknown fleet, you are in violation of solar system sovereignty. Leave immediately or face destruction. The aliens laughed. Humans threatening them with what? 7 ships against 300? They did not laugh for long. The Peacemaker powered up. Energy readings spiked across every sensor in the system. The massive ship turned slowly, pointing its weapon not at the rogue fleet but at a small uninhabited dwarf planet 2 astronomical units behind them. What are they doing? Warmaster Thex asked nervously. His sensor officer's voice was shaking. Unknown, sir. But energy readings are off the scale. That ship is producing more power than I've ever seen. Captain Chen gave the order. Fire. The Peacemaker fired. A stream of solar plasma erupted from the Peacemaker. It was not a beam of energy. It was actual matter from the sun itself, accelerated to 80% of light speed by magnetic fields stronger than anything nature had ever created. The stream was coherent, focused, devastating. The dwarf planet was named Kepler 442. It was small, rocky, and completely lifeless. It had existed for 4 billion years, orbiting quietly in the darkness of space. In 3 seconds, it ceased to exist. The stellar plasma hit the planet at 800 million meters per second. The temperature was 15 million degrees. The kinetic energy was beyond calculation. The planet did not explode. It did not shatter. It simply vanished. One moment it was there. The next moment there was only an expanding cloud of ionized atoms that glowed brighter than a small star. Every sensor in the rogue fleet registered the destruction. Every captain watched in disbelief. Every crew member felt their courage evaporate like water on a hot surface. Warmaster Thex stood frozen on his command deck. His translator struggled to convert his thoughts into words. Finally, he managed to speak. What was that? His science officer was checking and rechecking the readings. They fired stellar plasma at near light speed. The energy output was equivalent to a small supernova. That weapon could destroy a star system. They destroyed a planet to make a point, another officer whispered. The Peacemaker slowly rotated. Its massive barrel pointed away from the dead planet and toward the rogue fleet. The meaning was clear, simple, terrifying. Next time, it would not fire at an empty rock. Captain Chen broadcast on all frequencies. Her voice was calm, steady, and completely serious. Unknown fleet. The Peacemaker has enough power for 12 more shots. We can destroy 12 of your ships with each firing, or we can target your home systems. Your choice. You have 30 seconds to begin retreat. The silence lasted exactly 5 seconds. Then ships began jumping to FTL. Not in formation, not with coordination. In pure panic, captains fled without waiting for orders. Entire squadrons vanished as their commanders chose survival over pride. Some ships collided during the hasty retreat. Their FTL fields intersected and both vessels were torn apart by dimensional forces. Others crashed into each other trying to be the first to escape. The organized fleet became a mob of terrified refugees running from a nightmare. In 4 minutes, the entire rogue fleet was gone. 320 warships, the largest military force ever assembled. They ran from one human ship that had fired exactly once. Warmaster Thex was the last to leave. He stared at Earth on his display. He had come to destroy humanity. Instead, he had learned fear, real fear, the kind that made warriors into cowards. Get us out of here, he ordered quietly. His ship jumped to FTL, leaving the solar system behind forever. On Earth, 9 billion people watched the sky and cheered. They had been saved, not by politicians or diplomats, but by a weapon so terrifying that the galaxy itself had flinched. 3 months later, the Galactic Concordat Council held another emergency session. But this time, everything was different. The chamber was full, but the atmosphere was not hostile. It was respectful, careful, afraid. High Speaker Veloth stood at the center. He looked older now. The past months had been hard on everyone. We are here to discuss the Treaty of Sol, a new agreement between the Concordat and humanity. Ambassador Marcus Webb stood before the council again. But this time, nobody demanded that he make Earth weaker. Nobody threatened sanctions. Nobody laughed at human ships. The treaty was simple and clear. Humanity would be recognized as a sovereign power outside Concordat military restrictions. Earth would limit dreadnought production to defensive forces only. The Peacemaker would be officially decommissioned, though everyone knew it could be reactivated if needed. Human military advisors would help reform Concordat warfare doctrines to be more effective, and humanity would receive a permanent seat on the Concordat Council. The vote was nearly unanimous. Only the Zelthian supremacy voted against it. Everyone else chose peace over pride. After the vote, General Korvax approached Marcus privately. The old Threnian warrior looked thoughtful. You know what frightens me most about your species? The weapons? Marcus asked. No, it's that you never wanted any of this. You didn't build the valor to conquer us. You built it to protect yourselves. You didn't build the Peacemaker to threaten us. You built it because we threatened you first. You are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and all you want is to be left alone. Marcus smiled sadly. That's the lesson humanity learned the hard way, General. The best way to keep peace is to be too dangerous to attack. If we were weak, the rogue fleet would have destroyed Earth. Because we were strong, they ran. That's not just our philosophy. It's our survival strategy. Korvax nodded slowly. Then perhaps the Concordat needs to learn from you. We spent 3,000 years making war survivable, but we forgot to make peace sustainable. Your way is brutal, frightening, but it works. It works because nobody wants to test it, Marcus said. That's the whole point. 6 months later, construction began on a joint human-Thrinian research station. The two species would work together on new technologies, share information, build trust. It was the first real cooperation between humanity and the galaxy. Admiral Elizabeth Chen became humanity's first Concordat defense coordinator. She gave her inaugural speech from the council chamber, transmitted across the entire galaxy. Many of you fear humanity. You fear our weapons, our tactics, our determination. I understand that fear. But I want you to understand us. We didn't build the valor to conquer you. We built it. Because we've learned the hard way that the universe is dangerous. Peace is not maintained by weakness or good intentions. Peace is preserved by those too strong to be worth attacking. She paused, looking at the cameras. Humanity extends the hand of friendship to all species who want peace. We will share our knowledge, help defend against real threats, work together for a better future. But to those who mistake our desire for peace as weakness, I say this: do not test us. We did not survive 10,000 years of warfare by being easy to kill. The speech was controversial. Some species loved it, others hated it. But everyone respected it, because everyone had seen what happened to those who attacked humanity. The UESS Valor remained in service. She was no longer alone. 5 more dreadnoughts joined her. Together they patrolled human space, protecting Earth's growing network of colonies. They never started fights, but they always finished them. The Peacemaker was officially decommissioned and moved to a classified location. But its construction blueprints were stored in secure archives across human space. Everyone knew it could be rebuilt if necessary. That knowledge alone prevented wars. Other species began studying human military philosophy. Some adopted human tactics. Others strengthened their own defenses using human engineering principles. The galaxy was learning that survival required strength, not just rules. Years passed. Human colonies spread across dozens of systems. Trade with alien species flourished. Cultural exchanges happened. Friendships formed. The fear slowly transformed into respect, and respect gradually became cooperation. But humanity never forgot the lessons of those early days. Every human warship carried the same principle etched into its hull in letters large enough to read from space. If you want peace, be too dangerous to fight. The Valor became a legend. Children across the galaxy heard stories about the human battleship so powerful that the entire Concordat tried to ban it. Some stories were exaggerated. Others were completely true. All of them ended the same way. Humanity had entered the galactic community as an outsider, rejected for being too dangerous. They had fought wars they never wanted. They had built weapons that terrified even themselves. They had demonstrated power that made the galaxy tremble, and through it all they had only wanted one thing: to survive in a dangerous universe. The galaxy learned to respect that, because humanity had proven a simple truth that every warrior eventually learns. The best way to avoid war is to win every battle so decisively that nobody dares to start the next one. The council chamber was the most beautiful place in the known galaxy. It floated in space between 3 stars. Crystal walls showed the endless darkness outside. Inside, representatives from 47 different species sat in their special chairs. Each chair was made for their unique body shape. Today they were meeting to discuss a problem. The problem was humans. Ambassador Chen sat in the human chair. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been talking for 3 hours. Nobody was listening anymore. The Velcrin Emperor stood up. He was tall, with blue skin and 4 arms. His species had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. He looked at Ambassador Chen like she was a bug. "Ambassador Chen," he said. His voice was cold. "We have heard enough. Humans have taken 12 colony worlds in regulated space. This is not acceptable. You will return those worlds. You will join the council as junior members, or we will make you." Chen stood up slowly. Her hands were shaking, but not from fear. She was angry. "Regulated space?" she said. "Those worlds were empty. No one lived there. We found them. We built homes there. We raised children there." The Emperor waved one hand. The other 3 hands stayed folded. It was a gesture of dismissal. "Those worlds were reserved," he said, "for future use. The council decides who can settle where. You did not ask permission. You are newcomers. You must follow the rules. Chen looked around the chamber. 47 species. Not one looked friendly. They all thought the same thing. Humans were young. Humans were weak. Humans would obey. Let me tell you about human history, Chen said quietly. My species has fought wars for thousands of years. We fought over food. We fought over land. We fought over ideas. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times. The Emperor laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. That is why you need us, he said, to civilize you. We have rules for war. No attacking civilians. No destroying infrastructure. When casualties reach 15%, the losing side surrenders. Everyone goes home. Very simple. Very civilized, Chen smiled. It was not a nice smile. We learned different lessons from our wars, she said. We learned that sometimes surrender is worse than death. We learned that when someone threatens your home, you fight with everything you have. We learned that if you cannot win, you make sure the enemy cannot win either. The council representatives looked at each other. They did not understand. The Emperor made a gesture. His chief military advisor came forward. She was Velcrin too, wearing a uniform covered in medals. We will send a fleet to your colony of New Perth, the advisor said. It is your newest settlement. Only 50,000 people live there. They will surrender. You will understand that resistance is useless. Chen closed her eyes for a moment. She thought about New Perth, beautiful green fields, children playing in the streets. Her niece lived there. If you attack New Perth, she said, you will regret it. The Emperor laughed again. Is that a threat? Your entire species has maybe 200 warships. We have 10,000. This will be over quickly. Chen picked up her documents. She walked toward the door. I need to send a message, she said, to New Perth. 3 days later, the Velcrin fleet arrived at New Perth. 300 ships, enough to conquer 20 worlds. Admiral Korvax commanded the fleet. He was confident. He had fought in 12 wars. His species had never lost. As they approached the planet, sensors showed something strange. The cities were empty. No lights, no heat signatures, no people. They evacuated? Korvax said. Good, makes our job easier. Land the troops. Take the infrastructure intact. We can sell it. His communication officer raised one hand. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. Put it on screen, Korvax said. A human face appeared. A young man, maybe 25 years old. He wore civilian clothes. Behind him they could see what looked like a bunker. I am Michael Chen, the man said. Governor of New Perth. You have come to take our world. I have a message for you. He held up a small device. It had a red button. We spent the last 3 days preparing, Michael said. Every building in every city has explosives. Every mine, every factory, every farm. We buried nuclear devices in the tectonic fault lines. We poisoned the water. We burned the fields. We destroyed everything of value. Admiral Korvax stared at the screen. You are bluffing, he said. You would not destroy your own world. Michael smiled. It was the same smile Ambassador Chen had used. This is not our world anymore, he said. You want it so badly? You can have it. All the broken pieces. He pressed the button. The planet exploded, not all at once. First, the nuclear devices in the fault lines detonated. The ground split open. Lava erupted. Then the cities exploded. Thousands of charges going off in sequence. The atmosphere caught fire. The Velcrin fleet was too close. Debris hit the ships like bullets, metal fragments traveling at incredible speed. 100 ships died in the first minute. Another 50 in the second. Admiral Korvax watched his fleet die. His ship shook from impacts. Alarms screamed. Crew members shouted. He could not speak. Could not think. These were not rational beings. They were monsters. What species destroys their own world? His ship survived. Barely. A third of his fleet was gone. The rest were damaged. And below, where a green world had been, there was only fire and ash. A message came from Earth. It was broadcast to every species in the council. Ambassador Chen spoke. This is the human reply to war, she said. Her voice was cold and empty. You want our worlds? Come and take them. Come and take the ashes. Come and take the poison. Come and take the radioactive dust. We will give you nothing but ruins. We will give you nothing but death, she paused. We do not fight wars to win territory, she said. We fight wars to teach lessons. And our lesson is simple. Leave us alone, or we will burn everything. In the council chamber, no one spoke. They had started a war. They thought it would be easy. They thought wrong. The war had just begun, and the galaxy was about to learn what it meant to fight humans. The human reply to war: burn everything. The news from New Perth spread across the galaxy in hours. Every species heard the same story. Humans had destroyed their own world rather than surrender it. The images were terrifying. A beautiful green planet turned into a ball of fire and ash. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. The Emperor of the Velcrin stood before them. His forearms were shaking with rage. "They are insane," he shouted. "They killed their own people. They destroyed everything. What kind of monsters do this?" Ambassador Chen sat in her chair. She looked tired. She had not slept in 3 days. "No one died," she said quietly. "We evacuated everyone. 50,000 people. All safe, all alive. We only destroyed buildings and land." The Emperor turned to face her. His face was dark with anger. "You destroyed an entire planet. The resources, the infrastructure. It would have taken us decades to build all that." Chen stood up. Her voice was calm but hard. "Yes," she said. "That is the point. You came to steal what we built. We made sure there was nothing left to steal. You want to conquer us? Fine, but you will gain nothing. Every world you take will cost you more than it is worth." A delegate from the Thraxian species stood up. She was small and covered in purple fur. Her species believed in peace. "Surely we can find a peaceful solution," she said. "More violence will only lead to more suffering." Chen looked at her sadly. "I wish that were true," Chen said. "But your council demanded our surrender. You sent warships to our world. You gave us no choice but to fight." The Emperor made a gesture of dismissal. "Then we will declare full war," he said. "We will take all 12 of your colonies. We will blockade Earth. You will learn that defiance has consequences." Chen nodded slowly. "Very well," she said. "But remember this moment. Remember that you chose this. When you see what happens next, remember that we gave you every chance to stop." She walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the council began planning their war. On Earth, in a secret military facility deep underground, Admiral Sarah Okonkwo stood before a room full of officers. She was a tall woman with dark skin and gray hair. She had served in the military for 40 years. She had seen many wars. New Perth was just the beginning, she said. Her voice was strong and clear. "The council thinks we are weak. They think we will break. They are wrong." She pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed human space. 12 colony worlds marked in blue. Velcrin space in red. Hundreds of red worlds. "This is Doctrine Zero Sum," she said. "It is our new military strategy. The principle is simple. If we cannot win, no one wins. If we cannot have our worlds, no one gets anything." A young captain raised her hand. "Admiral, are you saying we should destroy all our colonies?" Okonkwo nodded. "Yes, every colony the enemy approaches will be evacuated and destroyed. But that is not all. We will also destroy their worlds. We will poison their water. We will burn their forests. We will contaminate their soil. They want total war. We will give them total destruction." The room was silent. Officers looked at each other with shocked expressions. Another officer spoke. He was older, with many medals on his uniform. "Admiral, with respect, this is madness. We are talking about destroying entire worlds, billions of civilians." Okonkwo turned to face him. Her expression was hard. "We will evacuate civilians when possible," she said. "We are not murderers. But if they refuse to evacuate, that is their choice. Our history has taught us one lesson. When someone tries to destroy you, you must be willing to destroy everything to survive." Sherman understood this. Truman understood this. Now we must understand it. She looked around the room. "The enemy thinks war is a game," she said. "They have rules, limits. They expect us to surrender when things get hard. But humans do not play by those rules. We fight until we win, or we make sure everyone loses." Over the next month, the pattern became clear. The Velcrin fleet moved to capture the human colony of New Harmony. When they arrived, the planet was empty. Every building was rigged with explosives. Every mine was collapsed. Every water source was poisoned. The planet detonated as they approached. They tried again at New Boston. Same result: empty cities. Total destruction. Nothing left but wasteland, then New Chicago, New Toronto, New Mumbai. World after world turned into ash and poison. The Velcrin military command could not understand it. Every war they had ever fought followed the same pattern. Two sides fought. One side lost. The losing side surrendered. Both sides went home. Resources and territory changed hands. Everyone knew the rules, but humans were different. They did not surrender. They destroyed everything. They followed no rules. Admiral Korvax sat in his command ship. He had aged 10 years and 2 months. His face was gaunt. His eyes were hollow. Another world destroyed, his second officer reported. New Berlin. Total loss. No survivors. No infrastructure. Nothing salvageable. Korvax closed his eyes. How many ships did we lose? He asked. 42, sir. The debris field was larger than expected. 42 ships. For nothing. Not even a single building captured. Just ruins and death. Korvax opened a communication channel to the Velkrin capital. Your Majesty, he said, we need to reconsider our strategy. Every world we take costs us more than we gain. We are losing ships, losing soldiers, gaining nothing. This is not a war. This is mutual destruction. The Emperor appeared on the screen. He looked angry. Are you suggesting we surrender? The Emperor demanded. I am suggesting we stop, Korvax said. Before this gets worse. Impossible. The Emperor shouted. We cannot show weakness. We must break them. Take their homeworld. Take Earth itself. Korvax felt cold fear in his chest. Your Majesty, he said slowly, if we attack Earth, they will defend it with everything they have. And if they lose, they will destroy it. They will detonate their entire planet rather than let us have it. The Emperor waved his hand dismissively. They are bluffing. No species would destroy their own homeworld. It is suicide. Korvax thought about New Perth, about New Harmony, about all the destroyed worlds. With respect, Your Majesty, he said, they are not bluffing. Meanwhile, human ships moved through space like ghosts. They did not fight major battles. They attacked supply lines. They destroyed fuel depots. They hit manufacturing facilities on undefended worlds. Every week, another Velkrin colony lost its power plant, or its water treatment facility, or its food storage. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that made the news. Just slow, steady destruction of the infrastructure that kept civilizations alive. The council members began to worry. This was not how wars worked. Wars were supposed to be clean, organized, limited. This was chaos. And slowly, quietly, other council members began to withdraw their support. The Thraxians pulled their ships back. Then the Zelnor. Then the Kraith. One by one, species decided this war was not worth the cost. The Velkrin Empire stood alone, and the humans were just getting started. The Velkrin people called them the Garden Worlds, 7 perfect planets scattered through their empire. Each one was a paradise. Blue skies, clean water, forests that stretched for thousands of miles. These were not just colonies. They were sacred places. The Velkrin had shaped these worlds over thousands of years. They had imported animals from 100 different planets. They had planted trees that took centuries to grow. Poets wrote about their beauty. Artists painted their landscapes. Children learned about them in school. On the third garden world, Velkara Prime, Lady Zirath walked through her family estate. She was old by Velkrin standards, nearly 400 years. She had lived on this world her entire life. Her great-great-grandchildren played in the garden behind her. The sky was perfect blue. The temperature was exactly comfortable. The flowers bloomed in colors that did not exist anywhere else in nature. She heard the news broadcast on her communication device. The war with humanity continues. Our forces have captured another human colony. As expected, the humans destroyed everything before retreating. Total casualties are minimal. Infrastructure damage is complete. Lady Zirath shook her head sadly. Such a waste. Such barbarism. The humans clearly did not understand civilization. That night, Lieutenant Marcus Webb sat in a small ship drifting in the darkness between stars. Around him were 19 other humans. They wore black armor. They carried no identification. Officially, they did not exist. Webb was 26 years old. He had grown up on New Perth. He remembered green fields and clean air. He remembered his little sister chasing butterflies. He remembered the day they evacuated, the day they destroyed their world. His sister was safe now, living on Earth, but his home was gone. Turned to ash and poison, Captain Rodriguez spoke quietly. Operation Ragnarok begins in 2 hours, she said. We are one of 30 teams. Each team targets a garden world. Our target is Velcara Prime. She pulled up a hologram. A beautiful planet, blue and green and perfect. This is not a military target, Rodriguez continued. There are no defenses. No soldiers. Just civilians. But this world is important to them. It is cultural. Sacred. Destroying it will hurt them more than losing 100 military bases. One of the soldiers raised his hand. Captain, are we evacuating the civilians first? Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. We will broadcast a warning, she said. We will give them 24 hours to evacuate. After that, we deploy the bioweapon. Anyone who stays will die with their world. The ship was silent. Every soldier understood what they were about to do. This was not defense. This was revenge. This was terror. But they also remembered their own worlds. They remembered watching their homes burn. They remembered the council demanding surrender. They remembered the Velcrin emperor laughing at their ambassador. Webb spoke quietly. They started this, he said. They came to our worlds. They demanded we give up everything we built. They chose war. The other soldiers nodded. They did not like what they were about to do. But they would do it anyway. 24 hours later, Lady Zirath received an emergency broadcast. A human face appeared on every screen on Velcara Prime. People of Velcara Prime, the human said. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Human Special Operations Command. You have 24 hours to evacuate this world. In one day, we will deploy a biological weapon designed specifically for Velcrin ecosystems. It will destroy all plant life. It will poison all water. It will make this world uninhabitable for 10,000 years. Lady Zirath stared at the screen in horror. This is not a military target, Rodriguez continued. We know that. But your emperor attacked our homes. He destroyed our worlds. Now you will know what that feels like. You have 24 hours. We recommend you evacuate. The screen went black. Chaos erupted across the planet. Some people did not believe it. Humans would not really do this. It was a bluff. Others began packing immediately. Panic spread through cities and towns. The Velcrin military sent ships. But they found nothing. The human strike teams were too small, too well hidden. They could not be detected until it was too late. 23 hours later, most of the population had evacuated. Millions fled to orbit, to other worlds, to anywhere that was not here, but some stayed. Lady Zirath stayed. She was too old to start over. This was her home. She had lived here for 400 years. She would die here if necessary. She sat in her garden and waited. At exactly the promised time, the bioweapon was deployed. Tiny machines, invisible to the naked eye. They spread through the atmosphere. They touched every leaf, every blade of grass, every drop of water. The effect was slow at first. Plants began to wilt. Water turned cloudy. The sky changed color slightly, then it accelerated. Within a week, every tree was dead. Every forest was gray and lifeless. The water was poison. The soil was contaminated. Animals died by the millions. Lady Zirath watched her garden die. The flowers turned brown. The grass became dust. The fish in her pond floated to the surface. She died 3 days later. Poison in the water. Poison in the air. She was not alone. Thousands of Velcrin who refused to evacuate died with their world. And it was not just Velcara Prime. All 7 garden worlds received the same warning. All 7 garden worlds were destroyed. 30 teams, 7 targets. Total success. The Velcrin people watched their sacred worlds die. They saw images from orbit. Paradise turned to wasteland. Forests turned to dust. Oceans turned to poison. Lieutenant Webb was captured 2 weeks later. His ship malfunctioned during extraction. The Velcrin military found him. They brought him to an interrogation facility. Admiral Korvax himself came to question him. Why? Korvax asked. His voice was not angry, just tired, confused. Those worlds were not military targets. They were cultural sites, sacred places. Why destroy them? Webb looked at him through the prison barrier. You came to New Perth, Webb said quietly. You demanded we give up our home, our world, the place where our children played. You said surrender or die. You thought we would just accept that. He paused. Now you know what that feels like, Webb continued. Your garden worlds are gone. Your sacred places are poison. Your paradise is ash. And this is just the beginning. We will burn every garden in the galaxy before we kneel to you. Korvax stared at him. This young human, this soldier who had helped destroy worlds. You are monsters, Korvac said. Webb activated his suicide pill before they could stop him. He died in seconds. His last words were simple. You started this. Across the Galactic Council, other species watched in horror. The Thraxians formally withdrew from the war. The Zelnor recalled their ships. The Kraith closed their borders. One by one, council members decided they wanted no part of this conflict. The Velkrin Empire was alone, and the humans were coming. The Velkrin Emperor stood in his throne room. He was alone except for Admiral Korvax. Both looked exhausted. Both looked old. How many worlds have we lost? The Emperor asked quietly. All 7 garden worlds, Korvax said, plus 12 industrial colonies, 23 agricultural worlds, 31 mining operations. The humans destroyed everything they touched. The Emperor closed his eyes. And how many human worlds have we captured? None, Your Majesty. Every human colony we approach is destroyed before we arrive. We capture nothing but ruins. The Emperor opened his eyes. They were filled with rage. Then we will attack Earth itself, he said. We will end this war. We will make them surrender. Korvax felt cold fear. Your Majesty, I must advise against this. If we attack Earth, they will destroy it. They have proven they would rather die than surrender. I do not care, the Emperor shouted. Assemble the Grand Fleet. Every ship we have. We will destroy the human homeworld and end this nightmare. Korvax bowed his head. As you command, Your Majesty. 3 weeks later, the largest military fleet in galactic history assembled. 10,000 Velkrin warships. Every vessel the Empire could spare. It took days just to organize them into formation. Admiral Korvac stood on the bridge of the flagship. He looked at the display showing thousands of ships. It should have made him feel powerful. Instead, he felt afraid. On Earth, Admiral Sarah Okonkwo watched the Velkrin fleet approach. Every sensor tracked them. Every military base was on alert. Everyone knew what was coming. She stood in the war room deep beneath Geneva. Around her, officers monitored displays. Everyone was quiet. Everyone was scared. 10,000 ships, her second officer said quietly. We have 200 in the solar system. This is impossible. Okonkwo smiled grimly. Then we do not fight them fairly, she said. Execute Operation Mars Gambit. For 6 months, humanity had been preparing. While the Velkrin destroyed colonies, human engineers worked in secret. They worked on Mars. Mars, the first human colony outside Earth. Humanity had lived there for 200 years. Millions called it home. It was a symbol of human achievement, and now it would become a weapon. Engineers had drilled into Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system. They planted fusion charges deep in its core. They installed antimatter bombs in the Valles Marineris Canyon system. They placed devices at every tectonic weak point. Mars had been evacuated. Every person, every animal, every valuable item. The planet was empty except for automated defenses and one final surprise. The entire planet was a bomb. The Velkrin fleet entered the solar system. They passed Jupiter, then the asteroid belt. They approached Mars. Korvax frowned as his sensors showed human ships retreating. The entire human fleet was pulling back toward Earth. They were abandoning Mars without a fight. Admiral, the humans are withdrawing, his tactical officer reported. Pursue them, Korvax ordered. Do not let them escape. The fleet changed course, following the human ships, moving closer to Mars. The red planet sat peacefully in space, silent, waiting. When the Velkrin fleet was in optimal position, clustered together, chasing the human ships, Admiral Okonkwo gave the order, detonate Mars. She opened a broadcast channel. Every species in the galaxy would hear this. Every council member, every civilization. This is Admiral Sarah Okonkwo of the Human Defense Fleet, she said. Her voice was calm, cold, final. You came to our solar system. You threatened our homeworld. You demanded we surrender. This is our answer. She pressed a button. Mars exploded, not like the colonies. Those had been destroyed with conventional explosives and nuclear weapons. This was different. The fusion charges in Olympus Mons triggered a chain reaction through the entire planet. Antimatter bombs created tears in space itself. The tectonic devices shattered the planetary crust. Mars split apart, fragments the size of mountains. chunks of rock and metal accelerating in every direction. The energy release was astronomical. Like a star dying in fast motion, the Velcrin fleet had no chance. They were too close, too clustered together. The debris hit them like a shotgun blast at point-blank range. Ships died by the hundreds in the first seconds. Massive chunks of planetary debris punched through hulls like paper. Smaller fragments created clouds of shrapnel that shredded everything. Admiral Korvax watched his fleet die. He saw ships explode. He saw them torn apart. He saw them crushed by mountain-sized rocks traveling at incredible speeds. His own ship was hit. The bridge lost pressure. Half his crew died instantly. Emergency systems kicked in, barely. Through failing displays, he saw the death toll. 98%, 9,800 ships destroyed. In less than 5 minutes, the 200 ships that survived were crippled, damaged, barely functioning. And now human ships emerged from behind Earth. Fresh, undamaged, ready to finish the job. Moon-based weapons opened fire. Missiles launched. Energy beams cut through space. The survivors died quickly. Admiral Korvax's ship was among the last to fall. As his life support failed, as his ship broke apart, he heard Admiral Okonkwo's final broadcast. "We sacrificed one of our first colonies to destroy you," Okonkwo said. "Mars was our second home. We lived there for 200 years. We loved it, and we destroyed it to stop you." She paused. When she spoke again, her voice was hard as steel. "That is what we are willing to lose to win. Think about that. Ask yourselves what we would do to our enemies. Ask yourselves if you want to find out." Admiral Korvax died in the cold vacuum of space. His last thought was simple, clear. We should have listened. We should have stopped. We should have left them alone. Across the galaxy, every species watched in horror. The humans had destroyed an entire planet. Their own planet. Just to win a battle. The Galactic Council met an emergency session. The Velcrin Emperor was not present. He had locked himself in his chambers. He would not speak. Would not eat. He stared at images of Mars exploding and said nothing. The acting Velcrin representative stood before the council. "We surrender," she said simply. "We request immediate peace negotiations." No one argued. No one objected. They had seen enough. The neutral station floated in empty space. No weapons, no defenses, just a meeting place. Representatives from 47 species gathered in the main chamber. Ambassador Chen sat at the human table. Admiral Okonkwo sat beside her. Both women looked tired. The war had lasted 8 months. It felt like 8 years. Across from them, the Velcrin delegation sat in silence. No emperor. He had abdicated 3 days after Mars. His daughter ruled now. She was young, barely an adult by Velcrin standards. She looked scared. The mediator, a Thraxian diplomat named Vel, stood at the center of the chamber. "We are here to negotiate peace," Vel said. Her voice was soft but firm. "This war has cost both sides dearly. It is time to end it." The young Velcrin Empress stood. Her 4 hands shook slightly. "On behalf of the Velcrin Empire," she said, "I offer our unconditional surrender. We accept full responsibility for starting this war. We ask only for mercy." Chen stood slowly. "We do not want your surrender," she said. "We want recognition. Recognition of human territory. Recognition of human sovereignty. And assurance that this will never happen again." The Empress nodded quickly. "Agreed. All human colonies are recognized as sovereign territory. The Council will grant humanity full membership status, and we will establish a new law. No species may initiate conflict with humanity without unanimous Council approval." One of the other Council members stood, a representative from the Zelnor species. "With respect," he said carefully, "we must understand what happened. We need to know why humans fight the way they do, so this never happens again." Admiral Okonkwo stood. She walked to the center of the chamber. "I can explain," she said. "Dr. Amara Ose is here. She is a xenopsychologist. She has studied both human and alien psychology for 30 years. She can help you understand." A small woman with dark skin and gray hair stepped forward. Dr. Ose looked at the assembled delegates. "The fundamental misunderstanding," Dr. Ose began, "is about the nature of war itself. For most species in the Council, war is an economic calculation. You fight until the cost exceeds the benefit. Then you surrender. You follow rules. You limit casualties. War's a game with winners and losers." She paused. Humans do not see war that way, she continued. For us, war is existential. We fight like our entire species will die if we lose, because in our history that was often true. The delegates looked confused. Dr. Osei pulled up a hologram. It showed Earth. Earth is a death world, she said. Everything on our planet tried to kill us, predators, disease, weather, other humans. We survived by being more ruthless than anything else. The hologram changed. It showed human history. Wars, conflicts, genocides. We have fought wars for thousands of years, Dr. Osei said. Wars where entire civilizations were destroyed, where cities were burned, where populations were killed. We learned that surrender could mean extinction. So we learned to never surrender. A council member interrupted. But surely you evolved past that. You reached space. You achieved peace among your own kind. Dr. Osei shook her head. We achieved peace through mutually assured destruction, she said. We created weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We pointed them at each other. We said, if you attack me, we both die. And it worked. But the principle remained. If we cannot win, we make sure everyone loses. The chamber was silent. Species that had never experienced total war struggled to understand. When the Velcrin demanded our surrender, Dr. Osei continued, you triggered our survival instinct. You threatened our homes, our children, our future. You left us with two choices, surrender and lose everything, or fight with everything we had. She looked directly at the Velcrin Empress. You thought we would follow your rules, Dr. Osei said. You thought we would surrender at 15% casualties. You thought we would accept defeat gracefully. But we do not know how to accept defeat. We only know how to win or die trying. The Empress spoke quietly. We made a terrible mistake, she said. We judged you by our standards. We thought you were like us. We were wrong, Dr. Osei nodded. Yes, and that is the lesson. Humans do not fight wars to capture territory or gain resources. We fight wars to teach lessons. Our lesson was simple. Leave us alone, or we will make sure nobody wins. She sat down. The chamber remained silent for several minutes. Finally, Ambassador Chen stood. We did not want this war, she said. We tried to find peace. But when you forced us to fight, we fought the only way we know how. Completely. Totally. Without mercy. She looked around the chamber at all the species represented. We hope you have learned from this, Chen said. We hope you understand now. Humanity wants peace. We want to trade with you. Learn from you. Share the galaxy with you. But if you threaten us, if you attack our homes, we will burn everything to the ground before we surrender. The treaty was signed 3 hours later. Human territory was recognized and expanded. Humanity received a full voting seat on the Galactic Council. A new law was passed prohibiting unprovoked aggression against humanity. But the real change was not written in any treaty. It was in the eyes of the council members. It was in the way they looked at humans now. With fear, with respect, with the understanding that some species do not follow the rules. 20 years later, a young Velcrin student sat in a classroom. Her teacher, an old woman who had lived through the war, taught history. Teacher, the student asked, my grandfather was Admiral Korvax. He died in the war with humanity. Why did we fight them? What did we hope to gain? The old teacher looked at her student sadly. We fought them because we did not understand them, she said. We thought they were weak. We thought they would follow our rules. We thought war was a game we could win. She pulled up images from the war. Destroyed worlds. The explosion of Mars, the faces of soldiers on both sides. But humans do not play games, the teacher continued. They do not fight to win territory. They fight to teach lessons. And their lesson was brutal. They destroyed their own worlds rather than surrender them. They sacrificed Mars, one of their first colonies, just to destroy our fleet. The student looked confused, but why? Why not just surrender? Why choose mutual destruction? The teacher smiled sadly. Because to humans there are things worse than death, she said. Losing their freedom. Losing their homes. Losing their dignity. They would rather die free than live in chains. They would rather see everything burn than accept defeat. She paused. That is the lesson your grandfather learned too late. The teacher said, that is the lesson the galaxy learned. Never threaten humanity, because they will not surrender. They will not negotiate. They will not follow the rules. They will simply make sure everyone loses. The student was quiet for a moment. Are humans still dangerous? She asked. The teacher nodded. Yes, but now we know that. Now we respect them. Now we leave them alone, and they are good neighbors as long as you do not threaten them. On Earth, workers continued the long project of rebuilding Mars. It would take centuries, but humans were patient. They had time. In her office in Geneva, now retired Admiral Okonkwo looked at images of Mars before and after. She thought about the cost of war. The price of victory they had won. They had taught the galaxy a lesson. But the victory tasted like ash. Ambassador Chen, also retired, sat beside her. Both old women now. Both tired from years of service. Do you think it was worth it? Chen asked quietly. Okonkwo was quiet for a long time. We survived, she said finally. We kept our freedom. We taught them to leave us alone. Was it worth Mars? Worth the garden worlds? Worth all the destruction? She looked at her friend. I do not know, Okonkwo said. But I know this. If we had to do it again, we would. Because that is who we are. We do not surrender. We do not accept defeat. We burn everything rather than lose. Chen nodded slowly. Outside, humanity continued to expand, building new colonies, making new friends, trading with other species, living in peace. But every species in the galaxy knew. Every council member remembered. Every child learned in school. Never threaten humanity. Because they do not fight wars to win. They fight wars to teach lessons, and their lesson is always the same. Leave us alone. Or we will burn everything.